Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. A lot to talk about again this week. Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate Commander decks have now fully been revealed. In the previous week, we got to see the full main set, so obviously there is an impact on certain card prices in the secondary market because of all these previews. Also this week, some reserve list cards are starting to pick up again after a rather slow week last week, if you remember. You will notice, too, that there are slow pockets in the market, and I do think that's because players are waiting to see what's going to be reprinted in Double Masters 2022. This week, yet again, we have a $2 threshold. We're not going to talk about any cards unless they're moving up or down at least $2. But quickly, before we get into the details, just a fast reminder. If you go to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, you can pre-order Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate products there. And they have just opened up pre-orders for Double Masters 2022 Draft and Collector booster boxes. I'll leave links in the description below. They also have a whole lot of other things on their website. Remember, if your order's over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. Also, whenever you use the Heroes promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated. So thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. We'll begin, as we always do, with a standard legal spotlight. Just a couple cards this time, both of them going down in value. The first one is Omnixilus the Adversary. This is down another $3.49 this week to $18.92. This continues to fall as packs are cracked. This card is trying to find its price point. It does see a good amount of play, though. In Standard, you do see this in Jund Midrange, Rakdos Artifacts, and more. Pioneer, it's in Rakdos Sacrifice, Jund Midrange. Modern, you'll see this in Rakdos Sacrifice there as well. Sometimes Rakdos Midrange. It is also getting Commander play too in Ziatora the Incinerator, and a number of other builds old and new. Plus, I have seen this in an early deck list around a Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate card as well. That is Raphael, Fiendish Savior. When it comes to preview cards, we'll be looking at a number of them throughout the video today. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these, but if you're interested in digging deeper into the cards, just feel free to pause the video. And the last card in this section is the Meat Hook Massacre. This is the one from Innistrad Midnight Hunt. It goes down $3.56 this week to $59.99. This is retracting after some recent increases, but it is still a highly played standard card. You're going to see this at Esper Midrange, Jund Midrange, and much more in the format. Pioneer, this is in Mono Black Devotion and Jund Sacrifice. It also gets a good amount of Commander play too. You do see this in Korvold Faker's King builds, and those are popular right now, due to the support that Streets of New Capenna brought that strategy in a variety of different ways. That takes us to the Pioneer Legal Spotlight. This time we have cards going down in value, but also cards going up. First is Rin and Ciri Inseparable. This is the non-foil copy that you might find in collector boosters. It goes down $2 to $25.51 this week. This card is retracting after some recent increases. It did get hot because of the cat and dog support that came in New Capenna. It is a popular commander, and it's also in the 99 of some builds, including a new one, Ginny Fey Jetmir II. Leonin War Leader from Core Set 2019 goes down $206 this week to $683. And this is another card that is retracting after some recent increases due to that cat support from New Capenna. Many times you do see this in Rin and Ciri commander builds, and it's in some new decks too in the format. Jetmir Nexus of Revels, Ginny Fey, Rigo Streetwise Mentor, Rafine Scheming Seer, and Best Soul Nourisher from the Cabaretti Cacophony Commander deck. Shivan Dragon is next. The copy from Revise goes down $270 this week to $16. This is retracting after some recent increases. It does see some commander play, typically in dragon builds like the Dragon. There is interest in the Dragon commander builds now because of the dragon support coming in Commander Legends. Since we're talking about dragons, let's look at some preview cards. We have a ton of dragons in this main set, as you can see, and a lot of dragon support cards. So everything on the screen is either rare or mythic rare. However, there's still some good dragon support things that are uncommon as well, so keep an eye out for those. On top of that, we have the Draconic Descent deck coming out with this product. The card on the far left is the front-facing commander for that deck, and you have a couple more cards in the middle that are from there as well. And of course, that is a very dragon-centric deck. The last dragon comes from a different commander deck, and that is the Mind Flayers deck. We're going to talk more about that one later. But as you can see, there's a dragon there too. Now, these are all new cards, but there's also some great dragon support reprints, especially in Draconic Descent. Next is Emrakul, the Promised End, down 303 to 52.53. This does continue to retract after some recent increases. Plus, it is not seeing as much Pioneer play as some anticipated, but it is there. You will see it in mono white midrange in the format. In Modern, this is in sideboards like Elementals, 4-color Blink, and more. And this is in a variety of Commander builds, including Kozilek the Great Distortion. Smothering Tithe. This is down 374 to 41.15. And the reason this is soft is because many are speculating that it will appear in Double Masters 2022. If it doesn't, this card is going to jump again, no doubt. If it does, maybe it will stabilize down more before it finally hits a low point. Regardless, it is a huge commander card found in many builds, including the Ur-Dragon. It is also seeing increased commander play currently in some new decks like Giada Font of Hope, Ginny Fey, Quiza Augur of Agonies, and Rafine. Last card going down in this section is Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. This is the copy from the list. It was there for Zendikar Rising and Keldheim. It goes down $4.66 to $40.24. Again, we have a card that was hot recently, retracting a little bit now as it tries to find its price point. The reason this was hot is because the whole Pioneer format was hot. Many players were scrambling to figure out the format and build decks because this season, if you want to get to the Pro Tour, you got to go through a regional championship, which means you're going to be playing Pioneer. In the format, you do see this card in Mono Green Ramp, Mono Green Devotion, and more. This is also seeing increased commander play now in Giada. Speaking of which, this is Archangel of Thune from Magic 2014. It goes up $2.06 this week to $30.39, and this is seeing more commander play in Giada builds. Archangel of Tithes. This is up $2.19 to $21.10, and you guessed it, this is seeing increased commander play in Giada decks. I have seen this in some early deck lists around a Commander Legends card though too. That is Glunch the Bestower. Next we have one of those original Shocklands again, Steam Vents from Guild Pact. It goes up $2.86 to $37.45. This did drop last week. It is rebounding some this week, but remember, Shocklands are all getting another reprint in Unfinity. However, many players, like I said, have been trying to put together Pioneer decks, and they can't necessarily wait. If you're going to buy a copy of a Shockland now, right before the reprint, I suppose one way you could go is go ahead and purchase the original copies, because when they lose value, they'll lose less than the other copies, I suppose. But ultimately, the Pioneer format has been driving these prices recently. In that format, you'll see this in Is It Phoenix, Is It Control, two pretty popular builds there, and it's in other decks too, of course. In Modern, this is in Murktide Regent, Elementals, and much more. Legacy, you'll see this in Is It Delver even. It is a big Commander mana-based card too, found in many different decks, including the Ur-Dragon. It's in new builds too, like Lord Xander the Collector and in Hello the Painter, either in builds from scratch around that card or as an upgrade to the Maestro's Massacre commander deck. Plus, I've already seen this in an early deck list around a legendary dragon from Commander Legends that appears to be gaining popularity quickly. The card is Miram Sentinel Worm. Last card in this section is Reckless Rage at $4.14 to $4.94. Now, this is in another popular Pioneer deck, Boros Aggro, that's been gaining some momentum recently. You also see this in Gruul Aggro and Is It Prowess in the format as well. However, this is an uncommon, so be careful. A lot of people will have these in their collections at home, and when they see this spike, they'll decide it's time to trade or sell them. Stores could have a lot in inventory that they haven't listed online. Again, they see the spike and decide it's time to sell online. So just keep a close eye on the price here. This also sees a little commander play in Feather the Redeemed and other builds. That brings us to the Modern Legal Spotlight, and again we have some cards going down in value and some going up. First we have Wrenn and 6, this time from the list. We did see the copy for Modern Horizons going down over the last couple weeks. This one is down $3 to $95.50 this week, and it was in the list for Zendikar Rising and Keldheim. The reason this is going down right now, though, ties into Double Masters 2022. We know it's been confirmed that this card is in the set. Still sees a ton of play, though. Modern, it's in Elementals, 4-color Blank, and much more. Vintage, you'll see this in Oath of Druids. It gets commander play, too, occasionally in different builds, including the Ur-Dragon and Korvold. Plus, I have seen this in early deck lists around a new legendary creature and background from Commander Legends. Here's the cards on the screen. Arinus Gloomstalker and Street Urchin. Force of Negation for Modern Horizons down $3.08 to $75. You don't see this card going down very often, but many are speculating that this could be in Double Masters 2022, so purchases are slowing down right now. Time will tell if that happens, but this is still a huge card in multiple formats regardless. In Modern, this is in Living End builds, Crashing Footfalls, and much more. Legacy, it's in Is It Delver, Jeskai Control, and much more there. Vintage, you'll see this in Tinker builds, Is It Tempo, and much more in that format too. Gets a good amount of Commander play as well, even seeing increased play now in some Quiza builds. Next is Unwinding Clock, the copy from the list that was there for Innistrad Crimson Vow and Kamigawa Nia Dynasty. It goes down 324 to 2535. So this got hot not too long ago, since many players wanted this to upgrade the Buckle Up Commander deck from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, or they wanted this for fresh builds around a card from their Shorikai Genesis engine. Now this is cooling off as the market moves on, but it is still seeing play in a number of other Commander builds too. Liliana of the Veil, the copy from Innistrad, goes down again 397 this week to 8225. Another good candidate for a possible reprinting in Double Masters 2022, but also this did spike pretty aggressively not too long ago, back when Lurrus of the Dream Den was banned in Modern and this card had a chance to come back into its former glory, so some of this could be natural retraction as well. It is getting a lot of Modern play still in Jund, Mono Black Coffers, and more. This has also seen a little increase in Commander play in some Toulouse Clever Conductor decks. Doubling Season from Modern Masters down 408 this week to 8880. So, does this appear in Double Masters 2022? Well, it was in the last Double Masters, which makes it maybe a little less likely to be in the next one, but only time will tell. The main reason I think you're seeing this kind of drop on this particular copy, though, this week ties into the fact that it did spike a little bit last week, so this could be some normal stabilization. It is a huge Commander card in many builds, including Korvold and Rin and Siri. In fact, Doubling Season plays well with a lot of cards from New Capenna in general, and you are seeing this show up in a lot of new Commander decks like Jinny Fey and Jetmir. And as you could imagine, Commander Legends is bringing a lot of cards that will play well with this too. Let's look at some preview cards now. We already saw some cards that would play well with Doubling Season earlier in the video, so I'm going to show you different ones now. And I got a bunch of them. Everything on the screen here, all 10 of these cards are from the main set. They're either mythic or rare, and they all enhance token strategies. Here's another card just because I couldn't fit it on the screen. Now let's talk about some more preview cards from the main set that play into counter strategies. Again, just mythic and rares here. And you can see 6 more cards on the screen. But wait, there is more. We have Commander decks coming too. Now granted, Doubling Season won't fit as an upgrade to all these decks because of color identity. But again, you might see Doubling Season alongside some of these new cards coming out in various builds. Now the Exit from Exile deck is the only one that does share color identity with Doubling Season. The card on your left is the front-facing Commander for that deck, and the card on the right is another card that would play well with Doubling Season. These cards are from Party Time. The card on your left is the front-facing Commander. I do want to take a moment, though, to point out Black Market Connections. I think this is one of the best new cards coming out of these Commander decks. This could be great in various tribal builds, including Dragons again. And outside of tribal builds, this is still going to be good in a vacuum, just in general. Keep an eye on the price of this one. We saw the front-facing Commander earlier, but here's some new cards from Draconic Descent that would be good with Doubling Season. And finally, these are some new cards from the Mind Flayers deck. Now, we're going to see the front-facing Commander of that one a little bit later, but again, we have some new cards that would be good with Doubling Season. Now we got some cards moving up. This is Ball Lightning from the Dark. It's up 201 this week to $55. So this original copy is a little dry online this week, and it can have a life of its own since some collectors want this in high grade for their collection. However, it is seeing some increased Commander play in a couple of new builds. Mr. Orfeo the Boulder and Ziatora. Emuria the Sky Rune, this is the one from the list. It goes up 298 this week to 1980. It was only there for Zendikar Rising. And this is seeing increased Commander play in Giada builds, and to a lesser degree I've seen this in Benny Brack's Zoologist decks in the format too. Grave Pact, the 10th edition copy goes up $3 to $34.50, and this copy is a little dry this week online. It is a solid Commander card in a number of builds, including Korvold at times. I have seen this in early deck lists around a Commander Legends card, that is Baba Lysaga Night Witch. Last card in this section is Crime and Punishment, up $8.77 to $36.92. Good modern sideboard card that can deal with Urza Saga tokens, but still be versatile enough to be useful in other situations as well. In Modern, you do see this coming out of sideboards of Yawgmoth, as well as Calibrated Blast, and that deck is gaining a little momentum, doing well recently in MTGO. That takes us to the Vintage Spotlight. This is where we talk about cards that see play in Legacy, Vintage, 93, 94, or cards that are just popular among collectors. Remember, in this section, at least when it comes to certain cards, the prices you see on the screen are going to be a little more reminiscent of what you might see on a price tracking website. because in some cases we have cards in this section that don't have a lot of sales in any given week, so we do have to lean a little harder on asking price. Additionally, for some of these older, more iconic Magic cards, the price you see on the screen could fall somewhere in between the price of a high-grade raw and a high-grade graded copy. Regardless though, if the price you see on the screen isn't matching up with the recent sale prices, I'll let you know. Time Spiral, this is up 203 to 179.98. This is in Legacy High Tide. It's also seen increased Commander play in Quiza and Urant Street Artist builds. Plus, I've seen this in some early deck lists around a Commander Legends card that is Tasha the Witch Queen. Entomb from Ultimate Masters goes up 218 this week to 37.99. This is in Legacy Reanimator. It's also in a variety of Commander decks like Korvold, and it has been getting increased Commander play in Rafine and the Beamtown Bullies decks. Again, either in fresh builds around the Bullies or as an upgrade to the Riveteers Rampage Commander deck using the Bullies as the Commander. Plus, as was mentioned on the Command Zone podcast this week, is a card you might want to play with a Commander Legends card. The card was Kagash Shadow Archdruid, and that could have brought some more attention to Entomb this week. Yawgmoth's Bargain, this is up 224 to 18.99. Now, this doesn't really get much play to speak of, but it was mentioned in a YouTube video by Jake and Joel at Magic discussing cheaper reserve list cards this week. Could have brought some attention to it. Time for the basic land section of the show, and this is a Portal Second Age Mountain, the one you see on the screen. It goes up 320 this week to 997. So we've seen a lot of these hard to find basics jumping recently. Usually what happens is someone decides they want to pick up a certain basic land for a deck or maybe a few decks. They make all the purchases at once. All the reasonably priced copies will then disappear immediately online, leaving just the more expensive ones. And that creates kind of an artificial inflation situation, at least until more copies get out there. And I do think that artificial inflation is what you're seeing here. Although I will say we've seen so many of these basic land cards jumping recently. I do think in a lot of cases these are just copycat buyouts. Mana Crypt, we have the Mystery Booster copy up 204 this week to 187.81. The original media promo book copy is up 331 to 364.12. In Vintage, this is in 4-color Tinker, Paradoxical Outcome, and more. This is also a huge Commander card in many builds, including Korvold and the Ur-Dragon. Plus, I've seen this in some builds around new cards too, like Rocco Cabaretti Caterer. On top of that, this is showing up in early deck lists around Tasha the Witch Queen, which we saw earlier from Commander Legends. And don't forget, this is a good upgrade to the delayed Heads I Win, Tails You Lose Secret Lair Commander deck. Helm of Obedience up 345 this week to 59.99. This is in Legacy Mono Black Depths, also Vintage Combo Shops. Plus, it does see a little Commander play in various decks. It is showing up in deck lists around new cards as well. Tasha the Witch Queen again, and the last front-facing Commander that I haven't talked about yet today, Captain Nagathrod from the Mind Flayers deck. Helm of Obedience could be good in fresh builds around this card, or good as an upgrade to Mind Flayers in general. Null Rod up 377 to 96.15. This does get some sideboard play in Legacy and Vintage. Legacy, it's in Dimir Ninjas. Vintage is at Tempo and Prison Shops. Plus, it does see a little Commander play in various decks. Tropical Island from Revised is up 460 this week to $651. Lion's Eye Diamond up 679 this week to 565.23. This is a highly played Legacy card. It's in Ad Nauseam Tendrils, Doomsday, and much more. This is also in a variety of Commander builds, including Korvold sometimes. Scrubland from Revised is moving again up 1190 this week to 385.50. Badlands from Revised up $12 to 470. Counterspell from Unlimited up 1344 to 97.80. You'll see a lot of Unlimited cards moving again this week. Here's another one. Cockatrice from Unlimited up $20.72 to $70. Dark Pact from Unlimited up $26.51 to $59.95. Sunglasses of Urza from Unlimited up $27.48 to $139.95. Meekstone from, you guessed it, Unlimited up $28.22 to $74.95. Lifeblood up $28.26 to $164.16. Mox Diamond from Stronghold up $35.08 to $735.07. This is in Legacy, Selesnya Depths, and Lands. This is also in some various Commander builds, including Korvold sometimes again. Northern Paladin from Unlimited up $48.23 to $112.90. Word of Command from Unlimited up $59.30 to $444.12. Force Field from Unlimited, it's up $66.73 to $751.75. Mishra's Factory, now this is the fall variation from Antiquities that you see on the screen. It goes up $145.65 this week to $408.82. Is that for real? When it comes to true sales, high-grade raw copies have sold recently for about $190, but a 9.5 graded copy sold for about $1,200. I think that's what's pushing the price, but remember, you don't see a lot of 9.5 copies of this sell very frequently. Guardian Beast up 171.20 to 1,128.80. Is that for real? Well, this is what I would about expect to pay for a high-grade raw copy. Graded copies can go for more, but I haven't seen one sell for a while. Volcanic Island revised up 762 to 783. The unlimited copy is up 174.99 to 1,649.99. Okay, when it comes to that unlimited copy, I have seen high-grade raw copies go for about $14.50. I have not seen a really high-graded copy sell for a while. An 8 sold not too long ago for about the price on the screen. Vesuvian Doppelganger from Unlimited is next. It goes up $354.42 to $600, or does it? Well, high-grade raw copies can sell for about $300, but I do think this is another example of a card price getting pushed by one sale. There was a 9.5 graded copy that went for about $1,600 recently. Again, hard to find this card in that kind of grade typically. Library of Alexandria. This is up $2,124.99 to $6,999.99. Is this for real? Well, high-grade raw copies of this can get up to about $2,500. I have not seen any high-grade graded copies sell recently. It would have to be in a pretty high grade, though, to get this price. And finally, in this section, we have Time Walk from Unlimited. This is up $2,699.99 to $7,499.98. Is that real? Well, I have seen high-grade copies of this raw go for about $3,200, and a graded 9 did sell for over $8,300 not too long ago. This price is close to the graded copy value, but when it comes to Power 9, it is hard to pin down value since there's just not many sales of these cards, especially in high grade. Typically, the ups and downs you see are tied into the asking price for the copies on sale that week, and of course grades as well as the number of cards graded versus raw could vary from week to week. Basically, Power 9's worth what somebody's willing to pay at that moment. And that takes us to the Commander Spotlight. All the cards in this section are moving at least in part because of Commander, but there could be other factors moving the cards as well, and in some cases Commander might not even be the key driver, but I'll point that out as we go through. First we have Pearl Medallion from Tempest up 204 this week to 38.56. This is in a number of mono white Commander decks, and it is getting more play now because of Giada builds, and to a lesser degree you see this in Benny Brack's Zoologist decks too. Lake of the Dead, this is up 224 this week to 127.39. This gets some Commander play in a number of builds, including Corvold at times. Angelic Field Marshal, this is up 240 to 23.50. It is getting additional Commander play, and you guessed it, Giada. I have seen this in some early deck lists around a legendary creature in a background from Commander Legends though as well. The creature is one we saw earlier, Will Blade of Frontiers. The background isn't uncommon, it's Inspiring Leader. Martin Stromgall, this is up 246 to 1666. This was also in that Jake and Joel are Magic video I mentioned earlier. That could have brought some attention to it. However, this does get a little Commander play, sometimes as a Commander, and I have seen this in early deck lists around a Commander Legends card too. This time the card is Ragadraga Gorgut's Boss. Here's another card that was in that Jake and Joel are Magic video as well. This is Bubble Matrix up 247 to 1863. However, though, before the video came out, this card was moving up. It did appear to be the target of a reserve list buyout. When it comes to gameplay, it does get a little Commander play in some different builds. Frankenstein's Monster is up $3 this week to $27.25. This does not see much play to speak of, but it was the target of a reserve list buyout not too long ago. Since then, the price has come back down, but this might be the start of a follow-up buyout, something to keep an eye on. Sylvan Tutor from Portal is up $3.33 this week to $79.83. This is in some different Commander builds, including a new one, Jetmir, and I have seen this in an early deck list around the front-facing Commander of the Exit from Exile Commander deck, which we saw earlier. That was Feldor and Dreadwolf Herald. This might be expensive, but it could be a decent upgrade to that deck out of the box as well. Copy Artifact from Revised is up $4.31 this week to $89.75. This does see some Commander play in a variety of decks, including Urza Lord High Artificer. Umbra Sphere Manifest up $6.50 this week to $12.50. This is one of the Innistrad Crimson Vow set booster cards, and it is a popular Commander, which is poised to see more play now due to one of the Commander Legends Commander decks. You guessed it, it is Mind Flayers. This could also be good as an upgrade to that deck, or good in fresh builds around the front-facing Commander, which we saw earlier, Captain Negathron. But let's quickly look at a few more preview cards from that deck. These are cards we haven't seen yet that are new cards, and support the horror creature type strategy. And finally for this section, we have Grave Robbers of $14.90 to $27.99. This doesn't see much play to speak of, and it certainly looks like a targeted reserve list buyout. Remember, a lot of these cheaper reserve list cards have been targeted recently. And that brings us to the premium spotlight, kind of the dessert at the end of a big meal. And today, as always, I don't want to talk about premium cards that are just moving because they dried up temporarily or because they were the target of a buyout. I try to select a few cards every week that are moving because of something that's happening. Maybe they're seeing an increase in gameplay or preview cards pushing them, something along those lines. There's so many cards that jump and dip every week when it comes to the premium market, and we can't cover them all. So I do think it is important to talk about some relevant ones, and today I selected 2 cards. The first is the foil copy of Reckless Rage from Rivals of Ixalan. This goes up $15.01 to $24. So like some cards in the vintage section, these cards don't see a ton of sales. We do have to look a little harder at those asking prices sometimes. So is this price for real? Are people paying $24 for this foil? Well, the highest sales I have seen so far are between $4 and $5. However, since the non-foil copy is now going for about that price, I would expect future foil sales to be higher. Will they be $24 right out of the gate? Maybe not. I do think sellers are trying to stay ahead of the spike with some higher asking prices, but typically sellers will accept a fair offer. Yawgmoth's Bargain is the last card. This is the Urza's Destiny foil. It goes up $24.99 to $349.99. Is that for real? Well, this price is closer to what you might expect to pay for a high-grade raw copy. I have seen those go for about $300. High-grade graded copies can go for more. A 9 sold for about $500 not too long ago. A 9.5 almost $1,800. And that does it for this episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. As always, if you're still with me to the end, hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate that. Until next time, hey, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.